Welcome to You Know Something with Dena.
Hey, look, I'm just here to entertain, inform, and keep this crazy train on track.
And Tia.
Me, I'm like your live wire that is liable to go shalom.
They're like your cool aunts.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Fun.
I can't believe you even brought that up. That is so fun.
Informative.
It's impossible to dust potpourris.
You can't.
Sometimes serious.
Dena, sweet child. I am almost stunned. I mean, I'm being really serious.
But most of the time, not so much.
A caca. I mean, you're caca and you're caca. No. I'm sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Ladies,
Hello, welcome to You Know Something? I'm Dena.
And I am DiAnna.
I'm so glad to be here with you, Diana.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you.
Are you having fun doing the podcast?
I love doing the podcast. I look forward to it. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, you're doing a great job. I love that you're opinionated and enthusiastic about everything.
I have been told I am opinionated. Yes.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, you know, the other day we were talking about how the podcast is called You Know Something, and then the tagline was with Dena and Tia.
Yeah.
And Dena's on a break. Tia's on a break.
So you're not going to edit that because that's too good.
I'm actually not even here.
You're doing a really good job if you're not here.
Oh, that's a Freudian slip right there. And I said, so we can't say with Dena and Tia every time and say, but Tia's gone, blah, blah. I mean, that's going to get old. And I think it was your idea, Diana, to say with the double D's, because we're both Dena and DiAnna.
Yes.
And I said, I don't know, if we call it the double D's, we might attract the wrong audience. It's not really our mission statement or our message.
But hey, we can get it out there to whoever's willing to listen.
We would get a lot more listeners, I think.
I do too.
But they would be disappointed as far as
I doubt
I'm
that.
concerned.
No, we're very entertaining.
Well, I know, but the double D thing would become like, for me, false advertising, because I'm like a C on a good day. Like if I've had sodium and I'm bloated.
Oh, my mercy me.
You'd be fine. You'd be fine.
Oh,
Is that too much information? I'm sorry.
maybe a little.
I'm sorry. I can cut it out. I don't know. All right, so I just read this week, preparing for the show, Diana, it was a pretty amazing story. I want to get a picture ready to show Diana, because she's right beside me. But for you guys listening, I'll include the photo on our website, www.denaandtia.com. You just scroll down to this episode's notes, and you will see this photo. And I think you can appreciate this, Diana, since you are in the medical field. This is from Unilad on Instagram. A 45-year-old painter from Delhi received a successful arm and hand transplant. Double arm and hand transplant. He had an accident on the job. I don't know what he was doing, painting, to lose both of his forearms, but he did. And the limbs were donated by a woman who had pledged her organs to be used upon her following her death. It took a team of 11 doctors to do a very intricate, as you can imagine, surgery. It was 12 hours because they had to reattach
Sure.
the bones, arteries,
Yes.
veins,
Ligaments.
tendons, muscles,
Got lots of stuff.
and for the hand to not just be like a dead piece of meat hanging there. It might survive, but he's got to be able to use it too, or what's...
And connect that with the brain signal to be able to have movements.
It's insanity. It's crazy. So here's the picture I wanted to show you. He's kind of a big buff guy,
Wow.
and he has a woman's elbow,
Okay.
forearm, and hands.
Okay.
Now, to me, that looks like it kind of...
Fits his body.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You think about a woman's arms on a big, burly man's body. I mean, I'm sure he would be grateful to have any
Exactly.
kind of arm. He's not really worried about what it looks like, but it looks pretty good.
That's very impressive. I love the technology that we have today.
It's incredible.
It certainly makes a difference in so many lives.
How do you feel about organ donation in general?
Oh, I'm 100% for it. Absolutely, yes. I have watched, actually, getting back to the hospital, I have watched many families donate organs of their children to other children. And I got the opportunities to go up actually into the operating room, and there was so much reverence that was given to the donor. And the recipient, of course, I never got to meet, but we did get follow up evaluations of how they were doing. And I get a little emotional with this.
Of course.
Because so we saw the loss on our side where the patient died and was, but someone else on the other side was given life, was given another opportunity. And I'm 100% for a donor.
So you're a donor yourself.
Absolutely.
What do you say to people, and I'm one of them, who says, ooh, well, you know, because to donate, you still have to be alive, technically. You're brain dead, but your body is alive.
Yeah, so in the ICU is where the patient would be. And again, I'm referencing my experience here. They call it the Tennessee Donor Service, and they actually come in, they send a nursing staff in, and they take over the patient, and it's on a ventilator. They do blood pressure medications to keep the blood pressure correct. You have to worry about the swelling of the brain as the body is beginning to pass. So again, you have to keep everything oxygenated and flowing and working just like the patient was alive. But if we removed all that mechanical support, obviously the patient has been deemed, I hate to say that, but it's brain dead.
Yeah, unsavable.
Unsavable. And so at that point, then we know that the family, we've already had the discussion with the family if they are choosing to donate. And if they are, then we have a process that we put out. This is what is coming up. And we've had 5 or 6 teams land on the top of Children's Hospital for one for, more the heart, one for the lungs. We've actually donated eyes. That was incredible. And again, it's a respectful thing to do. In my opinion, if you have something that would allow someone else, I don't need it down here on earth. I'm no longer here. My spirit is gone. I don't need the body. So I'd be happy for anybody to take anything from me. And to hear the stories of the recipients, and they would send us pictures, and we shared that with the hospital staff, and it made a difference and a reason to be there for maybe even that day. If you're on a 12-hour shift and somebody didn't show up, and it's really crazy, and you see a piece of the puzzle that you helped maneuver and create, it's such a blessing to know that even through the storm, God gave the ability for sight, or for the arms, as we talked about, for legs. It's a very respectful process, and I would encourage, my opinion, anyone that maybe they rethink that donor attitude and recognize that, again, you are not here. That's my belief. When your body is deemed medically brain dead, you can still help a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a fear that I've had about that. And so if I have, others have, because I'm not unique. It makes me wonder, would they try to save me as rigorously if they know that I'm a organ donor? I've heard people say that, like, because there's money, and is there not money in organ donation? I mean, Help me get rid of that fallacy that...
Oh my goodness. Okay, so that makes my heart just kind of...
Well, I know they wouldn't with the children, and that's your experience, but like a middle-aged woman, what are they going to say? Oh, we could use her liver or something.
I would hope, again, I've worked mainly with children, I would hope in a regular medical adult facility that no one would ever be a part of something like that. That each person is important, each person is worthy of saving, and you go do your all for somebody. And I would be embarrassed for the medical community if that were happening.
Yeah, I think
And
I've seen too many movies.
I'm not aware. I've actually never heard of that.
Oh, really?
No.
It may just be my paranoia.
That's kind of why my heart didn't stop for a second, because to me that's wow. I mean,
Well, that comforts me because you're in that environment. You would have overheard or had somebody discuss that, or a doctor.
no,
you know.
never.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, it's
Not
good.
at
That will
all.
encourage people to sign that donor card.
Right.
Well, you know this. Okay, so this man is a masculine man, and he's got a woman's forearm on both arms. And I'm just springing this question on you. Would his testosterone, as it starts to flow through the blood, you think he would start to grow hair? Or I didn't do research on it. I just popped into my brain just now, and maybe get more masculine looking.
You mean if he's receiving testosterone?
Well, just because he's a man and man blood starts to go through this woman's donated arms, would it change him, you think, at all? Or
I do not know the answer to that question.
that's interesting, isn't it?
That's a very interesting question.
I assume he'll have to be on like anti-rejection meds probably the rest of his life, right? Yeah. Well, I did a little research, and around 130 patients have received hand and arm together transplants around the world. So it's not very many if you think about surgical procedures.
Right.
The longest surviving hand-arm transplant was the first U.S. recipient. The first time they ever did it is still good. That was 11 years ago. So that's promising. Now, I don't know if that means ones afterward have failed. It didn't say.
Right.
Obviously, the longest one is going to be the first one if it's still successful. But
That's amazing.
it truly is. I mean, it truly is. Now, it also said that if you have one good arm and hand, or your arm was amputated up to the shoulder, you're not eligible. He's had both of his arms gone, so they did that. If you had one good one, they're saving the arm, I guess, for someone who has lost both their arms.
Okay. Yeah.
So, on a lighter note, that was pretty heavy, but on a lighter note, let me just ask you this. I'll tell you first, because you're going to say, Dena, you're insane, but I don't feel that way. I'm trying to think what I would be proud to share. I mean, obviously heart, organ, liver, whatever is good. I don't know what all's good left in my body after all these years.
Right.
But as far as physically, I don't think, I'm thinking about my feet. My feet, I have bunions. I have cracked heels, continuously cracked heels.
Well, mine are silky and soft and smell really good.
Okay, so you'd be happy to donate your feet. My shin, I have spider veins. On my legs. My knees are pretty good. I have good knees. They're not like saggy. They're not too bony. They're not too chubby. My booty, no. Nobody want that. Tummy, no. Arms are okay, I guess. Hands, I have terrible nails. My nails don't grow.
Do you really think that the recipient is worried about any of that you just discussed?
I don't know. I just, how you want to clean up your house before a housekeeper comes over, or clean out your car before you take it to have it detailed. I would just like to fix it all up before I would be embarrassed, I guess, except for my knees. My knees are good.
Well, when you got good knees, you're good to go.
I don't have knee pain, as far as I don't have arthritis. So do you feel pretty proud about everything you would have to donate? You have a more practical attitude about it?
I probably do, because I don't get as detailed as Dena sometimes. Woo, mercy.
So medical science is amazing, and what can be done is just mind-blowing, and what they're even working on now.
Right.
But just because you can do it, DiAnna, that doesn't necessarily mean you should. For our next story, this is animal-human hybrid. This is from Inside History on Instagram. Japan. Picture yourself in Japan. their government has approved a request by scientists to conduct stem cell experiments to create an animal-human hybrid and allow it to be brought to full term. So they're going to take, say, like a mouse,
Okay.
and create a mouse embryo. I guess mice make babies just like we do, a sperm and an egg. They're going to genetically modify it so it is not able to grow a pancreas. Then they're going to grow a human from cells and insert part of those cells, the IP cells, I don't know what that means, but into where the pancreas would grow. And that way this mouse becomes the vessel to grow a pancreas for a human. Thoughts?
My first thought is, where in the world do you get all this stuff?
I got this from Insider History on Instagram.
You just hit me with it, and wow. Okay, my first opinion is I'm not for that. I think that is messing with technology that we have, but to me that's playing God, and I don't agree with that.
So you feel that that's different than our previous story where they took an already existing human who donated that body part rather than creating a body part.
Correct.
I mean, you think about the future where you'll have just like a clone of yourself hanging in a meat locker somewhere ready to harvest whatever.
And if you are cloning these things, or whatever word you call it, how do they get a spirit so they can actually be
Where
human,
does the soul
animal?
come in?
Where do you get the soul? I don't think they sell those at Walmart or Kmart.
Yeah, I know. You know, when I first saw it, human mouse hybrid, I imagined like a human with a mouse face or a mouse with a human face.
That's what I do.
Which do you think's creepier? Which would you rather run into, a human with a mouse
really
face?
neither. But I think if I had to choose, I'd rather have the face as a human and the body as a mouse. Oh my goodness. I live in the wrong century, people. This is not my deal.
Okay, I think a regular size human with a little mouse with the little whiskers and wiggly nose
Would be cute.
would be fun to have as a friend.
I'm sure they would be fantastic to have as a friend.
But if you had a little rodent running around your house and it looked at you and it had a little human face on it,
Yeah.
that would be...
Well, I have a dog named Makita, and she is a Pomsky. And she is all husky, really. She's not a Pomsky. She's all husky. She'd be running after that thing. That'd be hysterical.
No, but it would scream because it has a human face. It would say, "Help me, Diana!" And you wouldn't want to put a mousetrap out for it. That would be like...
Oh, Lord.
creepiest.
Then you'd split it in half. Or cut the head off.
So, seriously though, if pancreatic cancer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that's one of the and if you have pancreatic cancer at home, there's always hope. I'm just saying what I've seen stories about, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
By the time you have symptoms, it's pretty far gone. So would you not be like, yes, give me that mouse human pancreas? You would be desperate to try anything and be grateful. It's a dilemma.
That is a dilemma. Absolutely. That would have to be on the person to make that choice. I would not make that choice.
Yeah. I mean, like I have pig... Well, no, I don't. I was going to say I have pig bone, and I do on one side of my jaw. I actually have cadaver bone on the other side of my jaw where I needed an implant and there wasn't enough bone growth. So I do have that in me. So, I mean... Again, that's still taking from something that already existed in past rather than creating life for that purpose, right?
Correct.
I do know that people are harvesting stem cells. When a baby's born, you pay to harvest stem cells. I mean, it's a fee. It's not automatic. For future possible healing, and growing of organs and things like that.
Right. they're doing all kinds of crazy, wild things. But some of the things that, we're doing are changing lives. And again, it's back to that person and how they feel. And if that will better their life, then who am I to judge that?
Yeah. Just personally for yourself, you feel like it's creating a life that's a mixture of things, is a little like mad scientist.
Yes.
In a way.
I feel like that's a little out of the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But then, what is the norm anymore? What is the definition of normal? And that has to be within your own self.
Yeah. Well, I can remember when the first test tube, quote, baby, remember?
Right, yes.
I was like, what? I was pretty young, but I remember thinking, well, you can't grow a human outside the body and put it in a body. That's, I thought I judged it too.
Right.
But now I think that, people who can't conceive
Correct.
naturally have embryos created. And
Yes.
I guess there's some that are just, this may be too of a political topic, but somewhere there's a building with little embryos that are not wanted right now that somebody owns that kind of freaks.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of people out there who wouldn't have children if it wasn't for that technology, but
Right.
where does it stop, and where is the moral?
Where does it become the mad scientist, like
Exactly.
you said?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah. When your
I-
best friend has a
would
mouse face.
I would encourage our listeners to actually think about that, because that's a very current issue that we are facing, and I don't see that going away.
Yeah. You'd have to actually make a law to stop progress. Progress will not stop
That's right.
until society says, no, let's stop. We got to stop.
And with the robots, it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. All the AI and the robots.
How far do we take that? Are we in 10 years going to be comfortable and not even think anything about it when we have a robot that cleans our house? Just like
Now that sounds amazing.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
Yeah.
But like my little robot thing on the floor, and I love that thing. And it vacuums up everything, and every once in a while she'll say, she's in her little home and she's charging up, and she'll say, I am here. And it scares me to death every time.
I am here. Mine doesn't do that.
Here. I don't understand why she says I am here. And I just answer her. I say, well, I'm here too.
She's feeling ignored. You obviously don't vacuum enough, Diane. She said, hello.
I'm here. Touch the button.
Don't you think it's time to get that cat hair?
So, but I don't think anything about walking over and touching that and leaving, and that thing's moving all the way around my home. I think nothing of that now. A robot, I'm not sure where I have, made sense of the robot taking over, and then they talk about the human race would maybe just fall back, and then it would be you'd be more robotic, and taking out the person, the memories, and transferring, basically downloading your brain into whether you wanted a male or a female, or you can design your robot however you want to.
Exactly.
To be you. I don't know. All that is just
Like
weird
it would go to
me.
work for you and go grocery shopping for you, but it would be your thoughts, so you could control which potato looked good. Which potato you want.
Right.
I don't know why I said potato, but yeah. And then you have all the thing with relationships. I saw some very realistic female robots on a news show the other day that I thought, man doesn't need a woman.
A man doesn't need a woman. I saw some the same thing, and I thought, we are not getting a robot that looks like that. I told Dan.
That's not our maid.
Straight up. We are not getting a maid that looks like that.
That could come in handy, like if you were going to get home from work real late and you were really tired.
Well, he said, well, you could design yours as a male and mine could be a female. We'd be fine. I'm like, no, we cannot.
Yeah, when we're long dead and gone, I'm sure that will be the norm. There will be less marriages, less children, less... it's frightening to think.
I was going to say, it is frightening how the world is headed, and we just have to be grounded in today. And that out there we really have no control over other than our voting and knowledge of that, and trying to just keep up with what's going on, but it's advancing at such a rate that I have difficulty with working and trying to have a life. It's hard to keep up with all of the current things that are going on. So
Well, that's what I'm here for.
I'm glad you brought that up because I would have never taken the time to actually verbalize what my thoughts were on that.
Yeah, you're going to go home with anxiety attack when you get home tonight. You're going to be thinking about robots and sewn-on arms.
Am I?
I hope not.
I hope not. I hope I'm thinking about going to sleep.
Okay, here's another story. I'm kind of seeing a theme. I didn't intentionally do this. That is health, body function, advancements, and things like this. But this is an interesting one regarding the brain.
Okay.
So a woman, Althea Bryden, she's 58 years old, lives in the United States. She suddenly felt inability to speak, and her upper right side of her body became numb, and she couldn't move it. This lasted for 3 months, and it turned out it was due to a carotid web in her neck. I'm not sure what that means, but basically it was this type of stroke.
Correct.
Obviously. And so eventually they said, we need to try to do surgery to restore your speech because you're not getting better. A lot of times when you have a stroke, it just corrects itself, or improves. But she was not improving.
Okay.
So she had this surgery. She woke up. It was successful. Her voice was back, which is awesome. Good for her. The feeling was back in her body. But the unusual part is she was shocked to find out that she had an Italian accent. She's never been to Italy. And she can't speak Italian. She didn't wake up speaking Italian. It was just, I kind of picture like Mario Luigi on Mario Brothers. That kind of accent.
Okay. Understand.
Oh, the pizzeria. That's what I'm thinking. And she actually started to use some Italian words that we commonly know, like Mamma Mia and Bambino for baby. Mm-hmm. And stereotype words that she's like, I've never called a baby Bambino, but it's just coming out of my mouth. And a speech therapist, do you have any idea what would cause that?
No.
Okay.
None.
A speech therapist suggests that she may have a thing called foreign accent syndrome, which is a good name for that. But it's a rare condition linked to the damage from strokes. Mm-hmm. Now, you would think that's worse things could happen to you, and it makes you kind of interesting to have a nice accent. But I researched it, and there are several people with this issue. Well, there's a woman in Texas in 2016, Lisa Alamia. She was diagnosed with it when she had jaw surgery. And when she came back where she could use her jaw, it was unwired. She had a British accent, and she's from Texas.
Interesting.
Another woman had a tonsillectomy
Okay.
and couldn't speak for a while, kept her throat
Yes.
not using it. I don't know how long you have to do that when you have a tonsillectomy, but she started speaking with an Irish accent. So, I watched a 60 Minutes Australia episode about foreign accent syndrome, and there was 2 Australian women speaking with Irish accents after medical procedures, and they suffered from depression, they were angry, they were scared. Mm-hmm. They said they felt like they were somebody else. Where did they go? People treated them differently. Like in their own home country of Australia, people would say, oh, how long have you lived here? I see you still have your Irish accent. Or I've always wanted to go to Ireland. And they're like, I'm Australian. I'm not Irish. So 60 Minutes put them together and let them meet. And they just ran to each other and hugged each other and just started sobbing.
Oh, that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
It's the support.
True. That's true. But we have accents, Diana. We don't think we do, but other people listening think we do.
Oh, I get it all the time. We travel a lot. People are like, where are you from?
You're not from around here.
I ain't from around here.
I have tried, and believe it or not, on this podcast, I've tried to suppress my southern accent as much as I can. It's hard when you start to talk and you're not thinking about it. You talk like yourself. But
Oh, I just love mine. So
do you love it? Well,
Yeah,
see,
I
you
do.
would be sad if you woke up and you spoke like...
I would. You are exactly right. But I would also have to recognize that I could speak.
True.
So I would look at the positive side of that. No, I may not like what's coming out, but obviously there's been some neurological damage, and this is as good as it's going to get. So I guess I better start liking Irish, British, Italian, whatever.
It's just so strange to me that I could see where maybe you would speak slower, or you might sound like you have a speech impediment, like
Yes.
or a lazy tongue. But for it to actually mimic another country's,
I got nothing.
it's crazy.
I don't. I've been medical field for a long time, but I got nothing.
So, if you could have you had to wake up with a different accent, what would you think?
Oh my goodness. I'd have to wake up with a different one. Because I really like mine.
I know, you can't have it.
Oh.
You've traveled a lot. Do you ever admire the accent of?
I love Italy and the Italian. I love their passion in their voice, how they inflect on certain, areas. So I guess probably Italian.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we talked about traveling on a previous episode, Tia said of all the places she's traveled, Italy is her favorite too. I've never been, but she's the most beautiful. The people are the.
Let's go. Let's go do a podcast.
You're from Italy?
Yeah, from Italy.
Sounds good to me.
How about that, guys? What do y'all think? Let us know.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the French accent makes you sound very
sophisticated.
Yeah, it's very sensual and sexual, and you could never sound unsophisticated with a French accent, or at least I'm sure
agree.
there are different dialects where somebody says, well, they're from,
Right.
the wrong side of the tracks in Paris. I don't know. Just like England, had the Cockney and all the different types, but I think French, I really love Jamaican accents.
Oh, yes. Love that, too.
Melodic and calming, but I think it would just look really weird coming out of this face. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, I'm on. But something they experienced, too, was people accusing them of faking, like their friends and family, which...
it's terrible.
I mean, if they came to visit you in the hospital and you woke up and you were like, hey, Mon, would they think, what are you doing? I can't help it, Mon. So
that would be a difficult position for the family and friends to accept that, but if you want to be in that person's life, that is who they are now.
Yeah.
That's just a voice. It's not their person. It's not their spirit. It's not who they are. That's just their speaking voice.
Yeah. I can remember in middle school, a friend of mine, her father got transferred to England, and they lived there for, I'm going to say 2 years, and when he came back, and she had a British accent and would use certain phrases
yes.
And I don't know if I did because I really wasn't a bully in school, but my friends, the people around me, were cruel to her, saying, you think you're so much better than we are now that you've been to England, and why don't you quit talking that way, and what do you mean by that phrase, what happened to you? So I can see where that would happen.
Yeah.
Now eventually that went away after a few more years, it was just gone and we forgot about it. But,
right.
So I could see where these people feel like their friends and family are ridiculing them. One of the women, a doctor said, let me try something. And he hooked her brain up to some kind of scan. Mm-hmm. And they looked at it. And he said, looking at your brain, the different colors represent different areas of your brain and what they control. Exactly. Thank you. And he said, you see all this blue? That's correct. A lighter blue, that's correct. He said, this red, you should only have a few little red squares. They were like little squared things. He said, look at all of them. They're all across your brain. That's what controls your speech. So you are overfiring on your speech. Your brain is totally confused when it comes to your speech. It's overcompensating everything. And maybe it just so happens that sounds the most like Italian. Just happens to be the way it's firing.
Right.
Most like Italian. And she just broke down and said, I feel so vindicated, and I can show this to my family, my friends. I can see physically.
The reason physically why this is happening to me.
Exactly.
What is it about that? I'm going to turn tables on you, girl.
Okay.
What is it about that why do we need that validation?
Oh, because we know what we're experiencing and no one will believe us, so we need to be able to see.
Yes.
I know.
Something on paper that a medical doctor has said, this is why, because she has more red matter. Then just trying to accept that would be very hard.
Yeah. I feel like there's a shame in, for some reason, people delineate the brain and mental issues and mental health from the rest of the body when it's all in an organ. Is the brain a muscle or organ? It's an organ. Okay. So if you have that, there's a shame to it. There's a different type of doctor you go to. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yes.
if someone's got a cold, you bring them chicken soup. If they have a mental illness, you're like, oh, you whisper about them and you maybe don't go visit them. You know what I mean? It's like that's a whole other topic. But I think there was a stigma to her that people thought, did you hear about Beth? She's lost her mind. She's speaking like she's from Ireland.
Right.
You know, so that was like, no, look, it is physical.
But it's sad that back in childhood, like you said, the girl got ridiculed, and she had just moved with her family and had been around that, picked that up, and brought it back, and it didn't mean she was any different, and that's terrible that people picked on her, and
Yeah.
I disagree with that. And I know you would not be one person that would do that to
I
her.
wasn't a bully.
You're not a bully. No.
So anyway, I don't know what they're going to do about this. You know, he said, well, now that we know you can physically see it, we'll just have to figure out how do we calm the brain down.
Yeah,
So maybe
sure.
some kind of anti-inflammation thing, or maybe just time will correct it. But,
Right?
yeah, but I thought that was very interesting.
That is very interesting.
And now we're going to get totally crazy, Diana. On previous episodes of our podcast, we somehow managed to talk about, I'm just going to use the word that I use, and I don't know how you're going to feel, because you're very sophisticated, Diana. The word poop. That's the word I use for, I don't know in your daily life how you refer to number 2, but I say poop.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay.
That's perfect.
I think it's a cute word for what it is. But we talked about the moral dilemma of creating mouse face people or people face mouse. This is another kind of moral dilemma. The odds of you running into that issue and having to make that decision are pretty slim. Hopefully that never
Correct.
comes up in your life or someone you love's life. But this could happen to any of us, this situation. And this story is from 3WheelJ on Instagram. I'll provide a link so you can watch the video. And what happened was do you ever use DoorDash?
Never.
Where you live, you really can't use DoorDash, can you?
I
Probably
don't think so.
You would have to go to the gate. Diana lives in a beautiful area but it's very secluded.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the end of a road. It's on a cliff. Literally, she lives on a cliff. She's so secluded. So this probably wouldn't come up to you, but it may come up here at your med spa. That might happen at your med spa. So I'm going to play a video. It's caught on doorbell cam, which there's a lot of interesting things caught on doorbell cams now that you can find online. And I'm going to play it for our listeners. And I want to give you a heads up. Our show is for you to listen to with your kids in the room or in the car, wherever you happen to might be. But there is a curse word in this video, and it's kind of pertinent to the story, so I'm not going to bleep it out. So it's just another word for poop.
Okay.
You know, the 4-letter word for poop that we
Got
all know
it.
and love.
Okay.
And it's kind of appropriate that he used it, but it's just a heads up for you guys. I think we can all handle it. So, all right, so here we go.
We can't answer the door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
I have diarrhea. Please let me use your bathroom. Please, please, please. I can't. I'm going to shit myself. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, so if you guys couldn't hear what that was, I was letting Diana watch it. The DoorDash guy, as he was getting out of the car to come to the door, realized he had to go to the bathroom right then. I call that the undeniables. The indescribables is when your stomach hurts so bad, you know what's coming. The undeniables, well, that's self-explanatory.
Right.
I had the undeniables. Now, I don't know how the video ended because one of the commenters said, what happened? Where's number 2? Where's part 2 of the video? And somebody else said, oh, part 2 is probably in his pants. Because so I don't know what happened. I'm sorry to leave you guys hanging like that. But what would you do, Diana, if you're the woman?
If I was the woman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, no, I would not let him in because unfortunately nowadays you just don't know who you're letting into your home. And I hate that because we all want to help people. But at the same time, I think he was belligerent and he was being forceful and she was telling him to leave. And when And he should have left. He should have turned around and gone to the next house, or go get in your car, and whatever happens, happens, and then you clean it up. It's not like you're dying. It's just poop. So
Poop in your pants.
I would shut the door, and I would shut the door.
Yeah, he pushed his way into her house.
Well, I would push him right back out of my house.
Yeah, it was scary because he said,
Absolutely.
"I'm going in." I don't know if you guys could tell, but he said,
no,
"I'm
you
going
are not
inside."
going in my house.
Yeah, and she said, "You're scaring my children." I know, and I'm wondering, would the dynamic be different if it was a woman and another woman? Would you feel more comfortable letting the woman? She said, "Please, I've got to go to the bathroom."
I would be more open to that. And again, it's how you present the message.
Yeah.
The way he was presenting the message, of course, he was feeling the anxiety and all the feelings that you feel when you're about to do that. Mm-hmm. But no is no.
Yeah.
100%. And you just have to deal with your own issue.
Yeah.
I would not push my way ever into someone's home against their wishes.
No.
Poop or no poop.
I mean, she could probably could have shot him if she wanted. You know what I mean?
She
It was
sure could. In today's world, I'd say poop outside.
poop in your pants. Accept it. I would say, okay, Leah, I'm gonna have to poop in your yard.
I'm going to have to poop in your yard. Yeah. And go pull your pants down and do your business, and then go on with yourself. And do the next DoorDash. And stop at the Gene place on the way back to, work to pick up the pizza.
Can you imagine if your food was the next food he was going to deliver? That would be
Yeah, that would probably
not good. Okay. Yeah, I agree. And for the most part, the commenters said that too, that he took a wrong approach. Mm-hmm. That would be a very easy way to get into someone's and that happens. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there have been attacks from delivery people by pushing their way in.
Especially upon our elderly community.
Yeah, they're vulnerable and they are usually very trusting and kind.
That's right.
They're used to the days where you could let somebody come in.
Well, that's when they grew up. That's what they still think.
Yeah.
And my dad was always so welcoming to just anybody and everybody. It's just not safe nowadays.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, and I just in the past year or so have started suffering from. I'll never get a date if they ever listen to this podcast, but I'm just being honest about my body. Recently, when I eat, that happens to me like almost immediately. I need to go, it's probably I need some probiotics or something, but I have to know where's the bathroom, if I want to go out to eat. And there's no stopping it. I mean, there is no stopping it, but I would never push my way into somebody's home.
No, that's intruding.
Yeah, it's insanity. It's insanity. I don't know what happened. I do feel bad for him if that was truly what he was going through. You're right. Go stop and buy a pair
of jeans.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say he did not get a tip.
Yeah, but he would have got a tip if he'd at my house. A tip on the top of the head.
The tip of your 9mm. So, Diana, that's all my stories that I brought to share with the class today. So, do you have any final thoughts, observations?
I think you came up with some very unique topics.
Thank you.
To discuss. Your brain never, ever ceases to amaze me. You're fantastic. You really are. I enjoy this, and I hope that my honesty and my answers are, good to hear as a different perspective. Mm-hmm. As far as technology and how far that we're going, my hope would be that we would come together as countries and that we would set guidelines for, what's accepted and then what crosses the line for future generations. So I just hope that we keep our technology in check, that it's for the benefit and the good of humans. And again, if you can have something vacuum your floor, I'm open to it.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I think everything was good.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed talking to you. We hope you guys enjoyed listening. Valentine's Day is Friday, so happy Valentine's Day. If you're gifted candy, eat it. Just eat it.
Eat it.
Eat it.
Don't save it.
No guilt. Enjoy it. It's once a year.
Right. And you're feeling loved.
That's right. And if you're single, like me, buy yourself some candy. I'm talking to myself. Buy yourself some candy.
I'll buy you some candy.
And, unless you have blood sugar issues, you don't want to eat it. But
Well,
I do make
my-
sugar-free, right?
My goodness. Just eat the candy, Dena.
Eat the candy.
Eat the candy.
Eat the candy. And we'll see you on Sunday for Giggles and Gratitude. Thank you for listening. We love you guys. I love you, Diana.
I love you too, Dena. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
We would love to hear from you.
Leave your questions or comments on our voicemail by visiting our website at denaanddia.com. Your message may be played on the show.
You can find our Instagram and Facebook links there too.
Again, that's denaanddia.com.
Thanks for listening.